The British royal family has long been home to a character who continually defies expectations, a rogue figure whose very presence rattles the foundations of tradition. A wild card, if you will. A person who, despite possessing intimate knowledge of the royal family's deepest secrets, chooses to remain silent, until now. For decades, this person was none other than Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York. A woman who, through a tangled mix of scandal and redemption, was exiled, only to be welcomed back, and then once again cast out of royal circles. The monarchy thought they had her under control, thought they had mastered the art of containment. After all, they reasoned, she was grateful, right? Grateful for the crumbs she was thrown, content with the brief moments she spent walking the corgis through the royal gardens or attending the occasional royal function. But last night, the very walls they'd so carefully crafted to contain her began to crumble. Everything changed. The carefully curated narrative that had long been in place was shattered beyond repair. The floodgates of truth opened. As we woke up to a new dawn this morning, we were confronted with a seismic shift in the royal landscape. A recording, not just another interview or an innocuous book deal, has made its way into the public eye. But this is not just any ordinary recording. It's far more powerful, far more damning. It's raw, unfiltered, and private, captured during a dinner party in the exclusive setting of Mayfair. What makes this leak even more dangerous is the fact that the tape wasn't released by a traditional media outlet or a disgruntled insider trying to make a name for themselves. No. This tape, this conversation, somehow found its way into the hands of the Sussex Survivor Squad, a group whose sole purpose is to uncover the deepest, darkest secrets surrounding the Sussexes. It's the kind of conversation that could topple empires. The voice in the recording is unmistakable. It's Fergie, and what she's discussing is not some trivial matter like children's books or the well-known royal corgis. No, this conversation dives deep into the very heart of royal intrigue. It's about the woman who would go on to marry Prince Harry, the woman who is currently at the center of the raging storm in Montecito, with the world watching, waiting, and listening. What Sarah Ferguson says in this recording is nothing short of brutal. It is clear, it is concise, and it is devastating. Meghan wasn't new, darling, she declares, her voice dripping with the kind of chilling clarity only a woman who has lived and breathed royal life for decades can possess. We didn't need an introduction. She was Andrew's companion for 3 summers straight. She was part of the inventory, 3 summers. That one phrase carries so much weight, so much hidden history. The narrative surrounding the royal yachts, long whispered about in hushed, salacious corners, has now been elevated from mere rumors and conspiracy theories to undeniable truth. This isn't just another tabloid source pushing sensational stories. No, this is Sarah Ferguson, the ex-wife of the very man at the center of it all. She's not just a peripheral figure in this scandal. She is the woman who spent years living in close proximity to the royal family. The woman who was a part of the inner circle, who knows the names of every guest who passed through the gates of the royal lodge, who can recall every private flight taken, every secret transaction that transpired under the watchful eye of Prince Andrew. Fergie's words carry the weight of someone who has seen it all, someone who has been a part of it all. She was there and she knows what truly happened. Her bombshell statement is a game changer. It means that the whispers and half-truths about Prince Andrew's relationships with certain women, the stories of the yachts, the parties, the luxurious trips, are no longer just that. They are fact. It confirms what many had long suspected but had never been able to prove. The woman who would later become Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, wasn't just a naive newcomer to royal life. She wasn't a fresh face simply stumbling into the royal fold. No, she had been there before. She had been part of the royal scene for years, long before she met Prince Harry. Meghan wasn't just a bystander in the world of the royals. She was deeply embedded in it, woven into the fabric of royal circles in ways that most people would never have guessed. For years, the royal family, and especially Sarah Ferguson, had been relegated to the sidelines of the narrative. They were seen as outsiders, as people whose relevance had waned, whose influence had faded. But now, with this recording, Fergie has thrust herself back into the spotlight. And what she reveals isn't just gossip or hearsay. It's cold, hard evidence of connections, relationships, and events that were meant to stay hidden. The walls of secrecy that the royal family built around themselves, the sea. Carefully curated stories about Meghan and Harry's whirlwind romance have begun to crumble. The carefully constructed royal narrative, the one they worked so hard to perfect, has been upended. The world is now watching as the truth begins to emerge, one painful detail at a time. And now, the panic in California is reaching a level so intense, it's akin to a nuclear meltdown. We're hearing disturbing reports that Meghan Markle, once hailed as the queen of public appearances, has completely retreated into silence. No more paparazzi walks, no more insider leaks to People magazine, and certainly no more carefully staged public displays. It's just a haunting, unnerving quiet that's taken over. Why, you might ask? Because she simply can't gaslight Sarah Ferguson. She can't accuse the Duchess of York of jealousy or racism. Not this time. Fergie was there. She was in the room. She saw everything unfold, and now that truth is coming to light. The very thing Meghan thought she could bury has been unearthed, and it threatens to unravel everything. The gravity of this leak is nothing short of catastrophic. The story we've been fed, the carefully curated narrative about Meghan and Harry's fairytale romance, has been exposed for what it truly is, a fabrication. The so-called blind date between Meghan and Harry in 2016, a complete lie. The meticulously staged introduction to the Queen, which Meghan and Harry presented as a beautiful, serendipitous moment. Just another rehearsed performance in a royal production. Meghan's curtsy to the Queen, followed by her claims that she didn't understand royal protocols. A blatant, direct lie, not just to the public, but to the very woman whose son she had allegedly been involved with for years. This is no longer hearsay, no longer just rumors floating in the air. It's real, and the house of cards is falling apart piece by piece. Now let's focus on the language Sarah Ferguson uses in that recording. The word inventory. It isn't just a casual throwaway remark. It's cold, calculated, and transactional. In the upper echelons of high society, think of the world that surrounds the likes of Epstein, Maxwell, and the elite yacht circles. Women weren't simply guests. They weren't even treated as equals. They were categorized. They were assets, commodities to be used and disposed of at will. If Sarah Ferguson referred to Meghan as inventory, it speaks volumes about the pecking order within these circles. It confirms what many have long suspected. Meghan was Andrew's girlfriend. She wasn't even his equal. She was a companion, a paid professional, carefully selected and brought onto the yachts to ensure Prince Andrew's entertainment during those long, idle weeks at sea, whether it was in the Mediterranean or the Caribbean. This fits perfectly with the timeline we've been tracing for months, the gaps, the unexplained moments that never seem to quite add up. 2013, the year Meghan's marriage to Trevor Engelson ended. 2014, the year those infamous yacht photos surfaced. 2015, the year Meghan took a trip to Istanbul. Fergie's bombshell now connects all the dots. It suggests that Andrew wasn't just a casual acquaintance to Meghan, he was a regular client. And Meghan, she was one of his regular companions, a fixture on the yachts, part of the unspoken world of royal leisure. Here's the twist. For years, many of us were puzzled by Sarah Ferguson's sudden warmth toward Meghan. Why was she so welcoming at the outset? Why did she teach Meghan how to curtsy? Why did she embrace the role of ally when Meghan first entered the royal fold? But this leak suggests something far more calculating. It wasn't kindness or a genuine desire to befriend Meghan. It was professional courtesy. Fergie knew the game all too well. She saw a fellow hustler, a woman trying to survive in the shark tank that is royal life. What Fergie didn't realize was that Meghan wasn't just trying to survive. She was there to take over, to claim a spot, to elevate herself to a place of power and influence, even if it meant stepping over the very people who had once helped her along the way. The leak itself is already damning enough, but what Sarah Ferguson allegedly refers to within it is even more damaging. She mentions the guest book, a seemingly innocuous detail, yet one that holds incredible weight. The Royal Lodge, as many are aware, isn't just any home, it's a fortress. Every car that enters the gates, every guest who stays the night, is meticulously logged by security. It's a place where every move is recorded, a place of total surveillance. Fergie claims in the recording that her name is in the guest book, and she's certain of one thing: Andrew can't erase it. It's in the archives, an official record that cannot be altered, no matter how hard anyone tries. This is the smoking gun, the irrefutable proof that Meghan was on royal grounds far earlier than she ever let on. It shatters the carefully constructed, stranger narrative that she and RRY so often presented to the public. If Meghan's name appears in the Royal Lodge's security logs between 2013 and 2016, it obliterates everything they've told us about their love story. It confirms that Meghan was part of the royal circle long before she met Harry. And that raises one of the most chilling questions of all. Did Harry know? Did he see her name in the book when he arrived at the lodge? Did Andrew ever mention it to him? Or, even more terrifying, was Andrew fully complicit in the entire scheme? Did he know exactly what he was doing when he introduced Meghan to his nephew, setting the stage for the grand royal narrative? This is the smoking gun. If Meghan Markle's name appears in the Royal Lodge's security logs between 2013 and 2016, it completely obliterates the stranger narrative. It's irrefutable proof that Meghan was on royal property long before she ever met Harry. And that raises the most unsettling question of all. Did Harry know? Did he ever see her name in the guest book? Did Andrew mention it to him, or perhaps, even more chillingly, was Andrew complicit in this whole charade? Did he look at his nephew, a man desperate for affection, desperate for love, and think, I know just the girl for him. She's excellent at playing the empathy card. Now, let's set the scene. Picture the dinner party in London. The atmosphere is lively. The wine flows freely, the guests are trusted, or so Fergie believes. She's feeling loose, perhaps a little reckless, certainly a bit angry. The truth is, she's venting about being evicted from Royal Lodge, venting about the tightening grip of the king on Andrew's position. She paces, her frustrations bubbling to the surface, and she walks around the room, dropping her grievances like breadcrumbs. Then, without missing a beat, she drops a bombshell. I remember the Aziza trip. I remember the earrings Andrew gave her, the ones she wore to the wedding. The room goes silent. All eyes are on her. The choppered earrings, someone asks, barely able to keep their voice steady. Yes, Fergie replies, her smile knowing, her tone almost mocking. Andrew bought them, not the Saudis. That one line, that's enough to bring the monarchy crashing down. It ties the infamous blood diamonds directly to the notorious yachting years. Meghan isn't merely a liar in this narrative. She's a woman wearing her payments for services rendered, draped in royal jewels that were never meant to be hers. The very symbols of royal wealth and power were, it seems, part of a transaction, a payment for services rendered in a shadowy world far removed from the public eye. Meanwhile, in Montecito, the war room is still. The silence is deafening. Meghan sits in her space, staring at the wall, her mind racing. She knows Fergie. She knows the Duchess of York doesn't lie when she's drunk. Fergie tells the brutal truth when she's let her guard down. And Meghan knows that if Fergie continues talking about the Aziza trip, it's only a matter of time before the photos surface. The timeline is confirmed. The audio is out. There's no turning back now. And yet, Fergie drops another breadcrumb, another piece of the puzzle, this time involving a crew member. A figure Fergie refers to only as Captain X. Ask the captain, Fergie says nonchalantly. He saw everything. He saw who came out of which cabin at 3:00 a.m. And just like that, the hunt for Captain X begins. It's no longer just about a recording or a leak. It's about tracking down this elusive crew member, finding the specific yacht, and scouring the logbooks Fergie claims prove Meghan Markle was a queen long before she became the Duchess of Sussex. Clock ticks down. Sources close to the investigative team confirm that in just 24 hours, a former super yacht master, one who captained one of Andrew's main vessels between 2013 and 2016, has come forward. He's not talking for fame. He's not looking for attention. He's talking because he's furious. He was silenced, threatened with legal consequences, and pressured to keep the guest list a secret. The pressure was immense, but Fergie's leak has cracked the door wide open. This captain has not just offered a few words. No, he's provided specific details. a location, a vessel, and most importantly, a set of personal logs that he kept locked away in his safe long after the palace cleaners shredded the official logs. The captain's personal records, the ones that have been safeguarded for years, are now the key to unlocking this entire mystery. The very logs that could confirm the unthinkable, Meghan Markle's presence on royal yachts long before her fairy tale meeting with Harry. The panic in Montecito is no longer merely a rumor. It's an entire conspiracy that's unraveling at an alarming speed. What began as whispers has now spiraled into something far more significant. A crucial witness has come forward, and this witness can place Meghan Markle on the deck of a $50 million yacht, miles offshore in total isolation, without a single camera in sight, no paparazzi, and most importantly, without the presence of her husband, Prince Harry. This isn't just hearsay anymore. It's direct testimony that is shaking the very core of the royal narrative. And now, let's step into the world of super yachts, a world that is as secretive as it is luxurious. In this exclusive and elusive ecosystem, once a vessel is 12 miles offshore, the laws of the land no longer apply. There, on the open ocean, the only law that governs is the non-disclosure agreement, the NDA. The crew of these super yachts, far from being casual workers, are often bound by these ironclad contracts. They are the unseen hands, the invisible witnesses to everything that happens aboard these floating palaces, drugs being consumed, deals being made, and perhaps most interestingly, the companions coming and going. But they remain silent. They are shadows in this world, hired not just to serve but to observe quietly, to keep the secrets of the rich and powerful, and to maintain the facade of exclusivity and discretion. But now, Captain X, an insider from this very world, has broken his silence, revealing a chilling truth about what happens behind the scenes. According to Captain X, guests on these yachts were divided into two categories: official and operational. The official guests were those whose names you saw in the headlines, the bankers, the socialites, the high-profile individuals who graced the decks, their faces captured in the photos shared with the world. They were the ones in the spotlight, their appearances meticulously curated for the press and the public. But there was another group, the operational guests. These were the people who stayed below deck, away from the cameras, away from the prying eyes of the world. They were the ones who served a specific, unspoken function. Their role wasn't to bask in the luxury of the yacht, but to service the official guests. They were there to entertain, to ensure that the royal family's leisure time was filled with the kind of distraction and indulgence they craved. For 3 consecutive summers, 2013, 2014, and 2015, Meghan Markle was listed as one of these operational guests. She wasn't there to relax, to soak in the sun on the deck, or to enjoy the royal lifestyle that so many would envy. No, she was brought onto the yacht on a retainer, as part of a carefully structured arrangement to provide entertainment and companionship to the prince during his long, isolated months at sea, both in the Mediterranean and the Caribbean. She wasn't just a casual guest on the royal yacht. She was part of a highly orchestrated system designed to satisfy the prince's needs. This revelation completely shatters the carefully constructed narrative that Meghan Markle has spent years crafting for the public. The narrative of a woman who became a humanitarian, a feminist icon, and a champion for women's rights. It paints a starkly different picture, one of a woman who, long before she met Prince Harry, was a paid companion to one of the most controversial figures in the royal family. Meghan Markle, the woman who now claims to be an advocate for social justice and equality, was once a woman who played a very different role, one that saw her as a commodity in the hands of the notorious Playboy prince. The narrative we were fed about Meghan, the story of her rise from a working actress to a royal figure, someone who defied the odds and worked her way to a place of power and influence, now comes into question. What was once believed to be a romantic fairy tale about Meghan and Harry's love story has been exposed as something far darker, more transact. Meghan was never just a victim, swept up into a world of luxury and power by sheer coincidence. She was part of a carefully constructed scheme, a game that she played as expertly as anyone else in the royal circle. She didn't rise to fame by sheer chance. She was a paid professional, fulfilling a specific role in a much larger system of privilege and indulgence. This new information completely rewrites the narrative we've been sold. Meghan, once portrayed as a beacon of hope and change, now appears as part of the machinery of an elite transactional system. A woman who, far from fighting against the system, was an active participant in it. She was not an outsider looking in, she was inside, playing a role, doing exactly what was expected of her. For years, Meghan's carefully curated image as a modern-day feminist, a champion of women's rights, has been constructed around her relationship with Harry. She positioned herself as a woman who had transcended her past, someone who had broken free from the constraints of her former life to become a voice for change. But with this revelation, everything starts to fall apart. The public's perception of Meghan as a figure of empowerment is now replaced with a much more troubling reality. One of a woman who, long before she entered the royal spotlight, had already learned how to navigate the complex, often murky waters of high society. It's not just about the yacht or the retainer, it's about the very foundation of Meghan's rise. She may have been a part of the royal family, but it's clear now that her ascent was not some fairy tale, but rather a carefully orchestrated performance. The world was sold a narrative of romantic love and destiny, but the truth seems much more cynical. Meghan Markle, the woman who claimed to have escaped the world of privilege and power, was actually well embedded within it long before she met Harry. This new information, revealed through the chilling testimony of Captain X, redefines everything we thought we knew about the Duchess of Sussex. Now that the truth is out, it's time to ask the real questions. How much of the story we've been fed is actually real? What secrets are still being kept hidden? The monarchy has always operated in shadows, but now it's clear that there are far more layers to this story than we ever imagined. If you want to stay ahead of the game and keep uncovering the truth about Meghan, Harry, and the royal family, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Let's dive deeper into the untold stories, and let's keep exposing what they don't want you to know. Stay tuned and join the conversation. The truth is only just beginning to unfold.